Thank you for staying around. I know it's been a long week for you guys, and appreciate your coverage of what we think is the greatest sport product in the nation and maybe in the world. So, but we're partial, and I know you are too. But we do thank you for all your coverage of us. I stand today in great gratitude and thankfulness to represent Dr. Roberts and John Cohen, our AD, and his staff, and our players, and probably most importantly, our Auburn family. It's been the greatest family environment and support that I've experienced at the stops that I've had, and then we're very grateful to that. It starts with our second straight sellout of season tickets. We just can't thank our Auburn family enough for their faithfulness and supporting us in all the ways that they do, and supporting our players. Shout out to Michael Williams from Montgomery. He was the last ticket bought to officially get us the sellout, so we're thankful for him coming through for us there at the end. A side note is I don't know of any, I know I've never done this, and don't know of any coaches that have, but we had our Auburn club meeting in Dallas last night, and so I came over to speak at that along with Bruce and some other of our coaches, and it made no sense for me to fly back to Auburn and then fly back here today, so I came in and stayed here last night. And Lee Van Horn, our football administrator, and John Cohen's chief of staff, and our SID, Kirk Sampson, went to get something to eat. And one by one, media started coming around, and it was just really neat, truthfully, for me, just to talk and tell stories. And we didn't talk, and I know everybody's got a job to do, and then I get ready to go from there, and I see more on the way back, and then on the way to the room, there's a group of the Alabama media that came in, and I got to see those guys also, and ladies, and it was a neat time, and I appreciate your kindness for those of you that we got to share some time with last night outside of kind of what we do. There's a great excitement in our building right now. I think it's a combination of things. One, I think our players sense that there is a chemistry among our staff that's pretty special right now, I feel, and that provides a confidence and an energy to our players and the way they go about chasing the standards that we've set for each other. And secondly, I think we've upgraded our roster. Now, a lot of that roster is young kids, and certainly can't predict exactly how they'll adapt to this, to playing in this difficult conference. But I do think those are the two reasons, along with getting back in January, and a group of young men that were elected to the Culture Council decided that these are the standards. I've had to change some. I've had to learn to listen more. That I don't have all the answers, and maybe our players are on to a few things that can help me be a better coach. And all of those discussions took place in January, and it's been exciting to see them lead in the standards that they've set forth for our team. But all of those things have led to a higher accountability in our building, and again, I think that's one of the reasons that we're optimistic that we're on the right track to returning Auburn to its rightful place and being one of the top football programs in college football. And again, thankful for you guys, and thankful for the Auburn family and our administration and everything they do for us, and love to take your questions.
Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Daniel Nolan or KD will get a microphone to you. We've got several down front. KD, if we'll start right here on the second row, right on this middle section in front of me.
Good afternoon, Coach. Michael Gittins, War Report, Auburn. You opened the season with 5 straight home games, and maybe there's an opportunity there for Auburn to get off to a fast start. Can you talk about the significance of Oklahoma coming to Auburn for the first time in the history of college football, and what getting a win there might mean going into what's a tough road stretch where you don't play a home game for a month?
Yeah. Did you say Oklahoma? Oklahoma and Texas are joining us? I got to play Alabama, Georgia, and those two? No. Great, and along with the others. No, I told Commissioner I was going to say that, but so the 5 home games in a row are not ideal for our fans, and that's why I think we have some of the greatest fans. They'll still show up, and they're going to and they're going to be there, and Jordan-Hare is a difficult place to play, and we've got to have that environment, because I do think that 5-game stretch is critical to our success of the season. And you know, whether it's the Oklahoma game or the Cal game or the Arkansas game, all of those are vital, and that stretch is going to be really important to us. We need our fans to, and again, I know it's difficult on them to come back and forth for 5 straight weeks, and then unfortunately we don't have a home game the whole month of October, which is usually the best weather for us. But I know our fans will show up, and that game, that is a critical stretch for sure.
Okay, we'll stay right here in this front section, front row.
Patrick Bingham of the Auburn Plainsmen. Coach, you talked about last season spending so much of your time on game days and throughout the week in the fall, focusing on recruiting and other aspects of building a program. Where do you foresee yourself spending the majority of your time this season?
It's a combination. Obviously, I love what DJ Durkin and Charles Kelly are bringing to the defensive side, and experience and organization and energy and structure that they have over there, and all of those guys, McGriff and Aldridge and Vontrell and all the assistants are doing a really nice job. So I don't expect that. I expect that will be pretty much like it's always been for me. Is I want to know what you're doing on third down, and so if I have something that I want to interject on that, but I have great trust in those guys. So then it's a split between managing your roster and the issues that come with that, and recruiting and offensive football for me, which is pretty normal. And I would expect I'm in the offensive room a large percentage of the time to make sure that you know, me and Nix and Kent and the guys that are going to be involved in making a call at a critical time, or we're all on the same page. So I would say it's probably split like 70% there, and then 30% combination between recruiting and you'll have player meetings and issues that arise. But that's my best guess.
Coach, we'll go over here to our left, back in front of the TV set.
How you doing, Coach? Tony Reese, WTV. I'm out of Columbus, Georgia. We talk about a lot of those young guys you added. They're calling them the Freeze Four, dealing with Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons, Perry Thompson, Bryce Kane. More so focusing on Cam Coleman. We were able to see kind of his first glimpses in the Auburn A-Day game. Just kind of what are you really hoping to utilize them this season, and what can you tell us about those guys?
Excited about the upgrades to that room. You know, whether it's in the transfer world, with Dre and Robert Lewis and Sam Jackson, or obviously we felt like we had maybe the top wide receiver class in the country with Cam and Perry and Bryce and Malcolm. You know, Cam was able to be there and go through spring, so you know, obviously we have had more time with him. Peyton's had more time with him, and we were very excited and thrilled with what we saw, and he's going to have to play, and I think the others have the capacity to do the same. They look the right part, and they're going to be critical into our success. We've got to stay balanced. You got to run the football in this league, but you have to be able to have guys that give a quarterback confidence that they can win in a one-on-one situation, and I think we're much closer to that with those guys coming to our roster.
Okay, we're going to stay in the center aisle, about 4 rows back.
Yeah, Coach Freeze, Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. Talk about the addition of Percy Lewis at left tackle. You guys transformed your offensive line last year, much improved in the portal, but what was the thought on adding him at left tackle? And then secondly, the improvement of Connor Lew, who played some last year but showed a lot of potential at center.
Connor Lew is already a leader. I think he's a phenomenal football player and young man, and I think he's an NFL center. So we're excited about him, and the snaps he had last year as a freshman, obviously he did really, really well. Percy, you can't get enough tackle bodies in this league, and it allows us the freedom to move D-Wade inside, where I think he's going to play at the next level and be more naturally fit. So fun to be around Percy too. He's got one of the best sense of humors. He's from a down home country place like me, and I mean, I tell people all the time one of the funniest stories is in his recruitment. Obviously, there's a lot of things that you talk about in a short amount of time with transfer guys, but he told our assistant O-line coach, only thing I've got to have to make sure this is finalized and this is where I'm coming is a spigot. My assistant O-line coach had no clue. Of course, I'm from country. I knew exactly what he meant, and I said, you tell him we'll find him a place with a spigot because he loves to wash his car. I mean, he's that kind of guy, and glad we have him and allows us to move D. Wade inside and need Tyler Johnson to come on and be that swing guy for both tackles and some of the young guys to develop. Tate Johnson's another one that will get a lot of rotation, and he can play all three in the middle.
Coach, we're going to go over to our right-hand side about 3/4 of the way back.
Jacob Goins, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. Good to see you last night and good to see you again here today. You bring Peyton Thorne not just here today, but you bring him back for this upcoming football season, and with you bringing him today, or the expected starter this season, what are the biggest differences from a year ago to this year for him to be the guy once again, not to bring somebody in through the portal, and to put the program in his hands?
Yeah, the portal, I'll be the first to say I'm probably not the greatest portal recruiter that there is. And I don't know. I like developing players and getting to know them and being with them. And I'm not saying that's the right way. I know I'm going to have to adjust. I'm already starting to adjust, but there are more changes coming. But I just felt like we could put some pieces around him that would allow him to reach his potential. And I've seen it on film. I think he was really, really solid in another Power 5 conference. And I think he's proven he can use his feet to move the chains when we need to. And I believe with the confidence he's sensing right now from what he sees in the staff room now to feeling like he's got a Dre Lambert-Smith out there that can win, that's done it. And some young guys, and Robert Smith's having a great spring too, and Camden Brown and some older guys. But you combine those two things, the confidence that he feels in year 2 with us, combined with and Rivaldo and people like that. I hate I'm always leaving people out, but I think the combination of those two things is going to provide him the tools to have a successful year. He knows that he's got to produce. We don't run from that, and I like what I see from Hank and Holden. Walker's going to be really, really talented. So there's guys there to push him.
All right, Coach, we'll go back down the center aisle, straight ahead.
Coach, I remember being in 1981 when Coach Bryant set the record against Auburn for 315. Coach Dye said, ain't a difference in the world between us and them. They put their pants on like you do. We start playing out of the same deck of cards as they do. We're going to have a lot of fun. I heard a great description of you from a coach at another school. He said, a lot of these coaches during the pandemic became COVID recruiters, texting and Xbox and stuff, not going one-on-one. The guy said, I can assure you Hugh Freeze is sitting on the front porch with mama and the grandmother and talking about life and pot liquor and just life like that. Talk about your philosophy as a coach and building a proud program.
Well, there's no question that's my comfort zone because that's the way I was raised. Me building genuine, authentic relationships is important to me. That last the test of time, and I don't think money can buy that. I mean that is time and investing in people, and being a very imperfect person, but a person of faith. I believe that's what I'm called to do through this coaching profession, and I don't know how to do that without those front porch conversations or them sitting on my back porch at our home in Auburn and them seeing how I interact with Jill and Reagan and Jordan and Madison and now 2 granddaughters and DJ and Hudson, and how I interact with our staff. So that is my comfort zone, and it is a family atmosphere at Auburn. I tell people all the time, it's one of the I think, last few public universities that has that true essence of faith and family running through it. Now, am I going to have to adjust and do the 24-hour recruiting more? I don't know. We'll see if relational coaching will stand the test of the onslaught of other opportunities that these young men will have. But whoever told you that is absolutely correct, that I'm much more comfortable recruiting a family and a young man, and being able to work with them over the course of a few years so that he reaches his potential as a player and as a student and as a man.
Coach, we'll go over to our right-hand side on this near aisle.
Coach Freeze, Philip Dukes from On 3. I wanted to ask you about the development of Damari Alston and what he means to the running back room.
Number one, when you said his name, the first word that pops in my mind is leader. 2 times now he's been elected to the Culture Council unanimously. He has wisdom for a young man, and so you combine that with he's a dang good running back too. I love our running back room. You know, I'm fine with nobody talking about them. I really am, but I mean, Jarquez and Damari and Cobb, I think are 3 really, really good backs, and Damari's kind of the leader of that group, truthfully. I know Jarquez but Jarquez is a very quiet, and I love that about him, but he works his tail off. Damari, if you need something to be said to the team or something from that room, it would come from him, and people would listen. And so, and by the way, our prayers are still with Brian Battie and his family as he's still recovering from his incident that happened this summer.
Coach, we'll stay in the center aisle, just right about halfway back. Go ahead.
Coach, Emily Grace McWhorter from the Next Round. Throughout the week, we've heard from the likes of Kirby Smart and Carson Beck on just how hard it is to play inside of Jordan-Hare. What was your reaction to those statements and the message to the teams coming to play there this fall?
Well, Jordan-Hare is it is a special place. I think opponents enjoy the atmosphere, and certainly we hope they don't. But I think when you reflect on the memories you want to make in this conference, that's what you want. I mean, and again, I said it earlier, but we have the greatest fans, and our fans are incredible, man. The student section is 2 hours before the game, has it packed out. And it's just an incredible environment that gives us an advantage, I hope, and we've got to be more consistent for them. Particularly at home. There were some great moments this year, but the one thing it does, EG, is it makes me feel like, man, I want to deliver, you know, a product to them that they leave there saying, man, I enjoyed the heck out of watching our team compete because of their faithfulness, and you know, and I do think it's man, we live in a world right now that it's a lot of stuff going on, and man, this is one place in the SEC, like at Jordan-Hare, where you come together with love and a common cause, and man, the unity is there in Jordan-Hare, and heck, it's that way in this conference. You know, even we go to a bowl game. I remember winning the Sugar Bowl, and everybody's yelling SEC, you know, and I'm certain that they come from different beliefs and backgrounds, but football in the South it draws people together, which is probably something we all need right now.
It will stay in that same section about 3/4 of the way back.
Hugh, Joe Goodman, AL.com. What is going to be Auburn's #1 strength this season?
I would hope it's our run game. You know, we return a lot of experienced offensive linemen, and that running back room and tight ends are really solid, and our quarterbacks can run it enough that it makes people have to worry about that also. So you would hope it's that, because when you can do that, you have a little control over the clock and the game and kind of how things are going. So it may be me wishing that and hoping that, but I like our running back room, and I like our O-line and our tight ends. So hopefully it's that, which, as you know, will hopefully lead to some explosive pass plays also because of us being effective in running the ball. But that's probably what I would say should be our strength with the guys we have returning.
Coach, we'll stay in that same section all the way in towards the back on the aisle.
Hey, Coach, Trey Wallace with Outkick. Talking about college football coaches getting burnout, assistant coaches and whatnot, we've seen that over the last couple of years. What are you doing as a program to make sure your assistant coaches, your staff members, your GAs actually get to enjoy a little bit of life outside of the building, and especially going forward with what's coming in college football?
Really difficult. There's days I experience that same feeling. I'm certain everyone, if they're honest, says that they would. The calendar has gotten pretty crazy, and it feels like the dead time is getting shorter and shorter. But I do think I probably as good as any. That's probably a question our assistants need to ask, but I think I get them out of there as much as possible. Whether it's February in the dead period or July in the dead period, or hey guys, it's Wednesday night, go home, eat dinner with your family. We can come up here early in the morning. I'm pretty good about demanding that of our guys and just trying to keep them as fresh as possible. But there's no question that is a great challenge. And you know, the one thing I think that we as coaches and administrators and Commissioner Sankey and everyone is just, we're hoping that we can get some structure that is equitable as possible, that maybe settles maybe some of the recruiting down a little bit that is demanding so much of our time.
Coach, we'll stay in that center section again, about halfway back.
Hey, Coach. Brendan Martin, SEC Sideline Sports in Ocala, Florida. This year, you moved Ken Austin to an on-field position in January. Talk about what kind of influence that may have this year on your team, having him on the field in this season.
Ken is, I've had two incredible quarterback coaches in my time. Very blessed to have Dan Werner and Ken Austin. And I think Ken is one of the best fundamental quarterback coaches that I've ever been around. And I think Peyton will experience the results of his wisdom. He's very, very intelligent and can teach coverages as good, if not better, than most. And I think the job he did with Malik Willis was phenomenal. Malik went from not seeing the field to being a draft pick, and while people will say Freeze gets some of that credit, truthfully, it was more Ken Austin and Jesse Stone that are our quarterback staff that really do the work. I see the big picture and I tell them this is what I want. Now you figure out his footwork and all of that, and Kent is, and he's humble and has been a coordinator and a head coach, has experience, but accepts his role and does it with humility, and I feel really comfortable with him.
We have time for one or two more. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll straight in front of us. Katie, here on the aisle.
Hey, Coach. Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. You've been great as an underdog in your career. What is it that you're able to get your team up for big games? Is there something specific in the planning or the pregame message? What is that you think that helps you achieve that?
You know, truthfully, that's probably a weakness of mine, because maybe I should plan the way I do for those when we're not the underdog. And I don't know that that's accurate, but it makes me feel that way. I don't mind being the underdog. I enjoy going to places that have great programs. I enjoy going to play Georgia and Alabama. We should embrace that, and LSU and Ole Miss and all the difficult places that we're going to have to go. And so I've always enjoyed that, and I let it be known to our players that I enjoy it, and you better too. You better enjoy it. And so embrace those opportunities, because truthfully, you know, you take a Liberty team into Arkansas and win, or into Virginia Tech and win. I mean, those are memories now. Those are memories. And or an Ole Miss team into Bryant-Denny and win. Man, those are memories. And so it's opportunities, and maybe I need to figure out how to be more consistent in the motivation for all 12 games. But, you know, we played really well in the Georgia and Alabama game this past year and, you know, we're right there with chances to win those games. And that gave me more confidence that Auburn can return to being Auburn. Look, there's only 6 schools, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure since 2010 that have won a national championship and have played for one. Only 6. And I get to coach at one of those 6. And that is the belief of our fans that should have. That's the belief of our administration should have, and the way they support our program financially and everything else that they do for us. That is certainly the view our players should have, and we want recruits to see it that way. I mean, 6th in the nation. And I get to coach at one of those that has won it and played for it since 2010. So, you know, we're very blessed, but we need to get the roster right, and I need to make improvements where I need to with our staff so that we're more consistent in all games, not just the underdog role.
Coach, we'll take one more question over to our right-hand side.
Hey, Coach. Daryl Dapprich, Locked On Podcast Network. You talk about players that are under the radar. Rivaldo Fairweather had a nice year for you last year. You used him in a variety of ways on the field. Talk about him coming back, what an advantage that is, and maybe some of your other younger tight ends in the room.
Rivaldo's talented. We'll use him in a lot of different ways, whether it's 12 personnel and make it look like it's 11, or 11 personnel, make it look like it's 10 personnel. We'll flex him out. We'll move him all over the place because I think he's a difficult matchup, and he has great catch radius and really good ball skills. And I think he's flying under the radar also. I think he's a very, very talented player and probably one of the better tight ends in this league. Luke Deal's just an ultimate leader, 6-year guy, in the trench guy, captain of the team guy. Frazier can do a mixture of both. So we're excited about the things that he can do also. And then we need to bring those younger kids on. Micah is talented, and I expect to play all 4 of those guys.
Coach Freeze, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, guys.